And the people, what up? Bryce Young taking first team reps at OTAs, and Riri, a member of the Roaring Riot. What's going on? You watch Panthers post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. Finally, some football-y stuff to talk about. Of course, we had the rookie minicamp, and then we had the rookies mixing with some of the veterans in Charlotte today, and it was a beautiful thing to watch. And also, we had the rookie symposium, which Bryce Young and the other top quarterbacks did not attend, but they did attend a trading card photo shoot with the NFLPA, and we finally got Bryce Young rocking a Panthers jersey. But there's a little bit of a nitpick with that. We also saw a superstar rocking Carolina Panthers gear overseas, way overseas, maybe predicting something special for this squad. And I'm also going to talk about the Carolina Hurricanes. And they got some problems. But let's start right now in Charlotte. We had OTAs with the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young. A lot of praise from him. We already heard it in the pre-draft process. We heard it afterwards with the countless interviews this guy had. But now we actually got him having first team reps. He's splitting it with Andy Dalton. And just hearing from coaches about how he is approaching the game is exactly as advertised leading into the draft. Basically, Frank Reich saying that before practice, he came in and noticed a mistake. Remember, there's like 200 years of experience in this offensive coaching staff for the Carolina Panthers. This coaching staff has been lauded with the amount of experience that they have, both playing the game as a professional athlete, as well as being a coach at a high level, winning Super Bowls. And you got a rookie quarterback who's in his early 20s coming in here and noticing a discrepancy in their script, in their offensive script, and then they fix it. And that doesn't make sense. It just adds to the legend of how this kid prepares. And it just shows that Nick Saban and company in Alabama were not BSing us, but the fact that he literally was more prepared than his coaching staff at the University of Alabama. I'm not talking about enter direction state university. He was like this at Alabama, and he is continuing that in the NFL. And it's just, you just don't hear that often with someone not named Peyton Manning. And full disclosure, anyone watching this, I am not at Bank of America Stadium. I'm not at the practice facility. I don't even live in North or South Carolina. I don't live in America. I'm in Canada. So the stuff I see in camp is completely relied on the people that are there, whether, it's PNP, whether it's the Panthers broadcast itself, whether it's Carolina Blitz, whoever's there, I am at the mercy of what they show. And thus far, not seeing any wild plays from Bryce Young, but I really don't think that's the motivation right now. I think it's just about getting the rhythm, getting the chemistry right with the starting offensive line, with the starting wide receivers, some of those rookie wide receivers like Jonathan Mingo. I think those are really the process we're going through here. And Josh McCown said he's taking every waking moment, every waking minute of his day to cater to Bryce Young and to help him become a great starter. NFL just passing a rule now that you can have a third quarterback on your roster. And so shout out Matt Corral. So let's talk about, I did not think I'd be talking about Matt Corral. That has nothing to do with him being traded, but he is on this team. I don't think he's going anywhere. And Frank Reich said the reason why they let Jacob Eason go is because he wanted to give Matt Corral reps with this team, whether it's with the second team, third team, whatever. That says something. It says they saw something in him. Maybe Jonathan Mingo, his Ole Miss Rebels teammate, put in a good word. But it seems like Matt Corral is here to stay. We're going to see how he does during the preseason, but it seems like he's going to be in Charlotte at least for the next couple of weeks. And he spoke to the press and he talked about that cryptic Instagram post during draft day. He said nothing to do with the Panthers. Okay, he said something. It was something personal, something else outside of football. Take his word for it. But he says he wants to be here. And he's seen Bryce. They're both SoCal guys. So he's looked up to him. He's watched his career. Obviously, he has a relationship with Jonathan Mingo. Maybe we can see that kind of play out during the preseason as well. But if I were him, if I were his agent, if I were his parent, I would want him also to stay in Carolina, because compared to the situation he was in before with Matt Rule and company, he is now in an amazing situation, just like Bryce Young is. If you're a rookie quarterback or a second-year quarterback, you could basically say he's almost like a redshirt rookie, that he is in a situation now where he's going to get coaching from a Josh McCown, who was not there last year, Deuce Staley, Thomas Brown, Jim Caldwell, Frank Reich. All these guys are going to now be at his disposal to learn, to be better. And as long as he can just take that in and use this as a challenge and kind of look at Bryce Young, a guy who's about 3 inches shorter than him, also came in the SEC just like him, also probably less athletic than Matt Corral is, to be honest. If he takes this as a challenge, maybe he can supersede Andy Dalton as a second string QB. You never know. And so that is the best case scenario for Carolina Panther fans. Absolutely. If you could just have Andy Dalton be that player coach along with Josh McCown, who could, I'm sure, if they had to, in hockey, they have emergency goalie. If Josh McCown's the emergency quarterback, why not? If you can have your 1-2 punch with Bryce Young and Matt Corral, I mean, why not? The sky's the limit with that guy. Like, he had a kind of a gimmicky offense with Ole Miss, and now you're in the pros, and your second year in the pros, you're surrounded by guys who have been there, done that times 1,000 in the offensive side of the ball. So I think it is the right call for him. I would never demand a trade from this particular team. If I was with, let's say, who's a bad situation? Washington, I'd want to get out of there. But with Carolina right now, no shade, Ron Rivera. I'm just saying. I think it's a right move to stay there. I wouldn't want to ruffle any feathers. Try to learn as much as you can. The best case scenario is learn as much as you can, ball out in the preseason, and if things don't play out the way you want to in Carolina, maybe you get picked up by somebody else and you have a chance to actually be a starter. Because let's be honest, as great as he is, it's going to have to be a catastrophic injury for Matt Corral to be the starter with the Carolina Panthers in the near future. So do the best you can, or just maybe the Panthers just have the best 1-2-3 punch in the NFL, because you saw how it could crumble right in front of you just as the San Francisco 49ers. So if you can have 3 quality starters who are just probably not as good as a guy like Bryce, but the second and third string guy can kind of be comparable to each other, I think you're in a great situation. Speaking of regime changes, Brian Burns on a podcast with Tyreek Hill and kind of humanizing Matt Rule a little bit. Obviously, we destroy Matt Rule a lot, and for good reason as fans. But he talks about how he's kind of looking at his NFL career kind of like a roller coaster. Obviously, he came in with Ron Rivera, and it's weird for him to say he didn't have a relationship with Ron Rivera because he was the new guy. And then he talks with Matt Rule, how he did have a relationship with Matt Rule, and a good one. They still talk. And so now and then he had to, figure it out with the interim coach, and now he's got Frank Reich, so he's got to work that out all over again. So it has been a bit of a tumultuous situation for him, kind of like a Christian McCaffrey, who we talked about in my YouTube shorts. You could always check that out. But the one thing that I am seeing that I think is great is the coaching staff that did not draft Brian Burns, but obviously joined this team knowing that he's on this squad, saying that he's a heck of a leader and he's a talented player and he's a dog. And so hopefully he's not turned off by the constant change, and hopefully the situation that they have here with the Jiro Evero and company on the defensive side and offensive side, kind of speeds up the process of him kind of getting on the same page, getting on the right flow with everybody else on the team, and not feeling like how he said on the podcast. It just kind of feels like you kind of have to get up and learn a new language all over again. So hopefully he could pick that up quickly with this new squad, because you need him to be happy. He's a blue chip player. You're trying to extend him to a long-term deal. And, we don't even have the other side of the defensive line with him. If you somehow don't have him anymore, then you're really effed. So Matt Rule's a human. Brian Burns needs to be a much richer human. Make it happen. So Jonathan Mingo and Bryce Young, we finally get a look. No more mock-ups, no more jersey swaps. We finally got to see them in the full Carolina Panthers gear with friggin' pads and gloves and sweatbands and wrist and elbow bands and helmet and everything. And it looks beautiful, I gotta say. Bryce Young looks dope in full Carolina Panthers gear. He just, I don't know. I tweeted this. It is amazing, and it's been way too long for the Carolina Panthers to have a handsome QB. Finally, they have one yet again after Cameron Newton. I'm sure, some people might be into the Kyle Allens and Teddy Bridgewaters and the Sam Darnold aesthetic, but Bryce Young is a good-looking man, and goddammit, he looks great in the Carolina Panthers jersey and the Carolina Panthers helmet. It doesn't look like a kid. He looks like a gosh darn CEO and leader. But I'll also bring out, though, Jonathan Mingo looks like a wide receiver one. He plays like a wide receiver one. I know it's in short clippets, like YouTube shorts and Instagram stories on the Panthers YouTube channel, Instagram channels, but he runs fast. He runs aggressive. He runs crisp routes. He looks like a wide receiver one to me. I saw clips from Terrace Marshall Jr. saying he does 20 minutes of meditation every single day. I hope he meditates into an equally number one wide receiver, and that's only going to help the team. But Jonathan Mingo looks like a goddamn dog out there with the jersey. He looks great. I would not want to mess with that guy. But I got to say, though, and I think Football Fashion, the Twitter account, pointed this out. They are not wearing this year's jersey in those photos. They are not. That's last year's template. It's not processed blue. Everything is going to be, in terms of the template, different. If you look at the Vapor template that the Panthers will be wearing, the one that Bryce Young actually held up at the draft, it's kind of got a V template in the middle. And so these ones are still straight cut, kind of like the Luke Kuechly jersey behind me here. And so that kind of alters the stripe. The stripe is actually narrower in the new jersey and also processed blue. And so while it isn't fake, it's kind of a tease because that's not how they're actually going to look when both of them, because I think both of them are going to start when the Carolina Panthers take on the Atlanta Falcons in week 1 in ATL. But it's still nice to see. What's maybe nicer to see is one Rihanna, who's pregnant and the most famous person on earth, the most valuable, most wealthy female musical act ever. All of them. She is a billionaire. She is the wealthiest female artist ever. And she, in Tokyo, at a club, why she had a club, I think it was for her kid, but either way, it looked pretty intense for a pregnant woman. Shout out to her. She's an entertainer and a boss. I can't question anybody, especially when they dress like this. She's rocking a Carolina Panthers dress. First, I thought it was just a jersey, but it is an inaugural 1995 Carolina Panthers jersey. It is so old. It doesn't even have a player name on it. It just says Panthers. And then she has a Kerry Collins skirt. I guess the skirt part, I think it's all one, but the skirty part is a Kerry Collins jersey. And I think, and I don't know what the other part was. I don't think it's Chuba Hubbard, but I think it was number 20 or 30. I don't know. But that blew up the goddamn Carolina Panthers world. So the Panthers are now pop culture now. This is what happens. This is going to happen. You got a guy in Bryce Young who's got deals with Snickers, with Jordan, with, I don't know, I'm assuming he's with Old Spice because most athletes are. He's going to be everywhere. He's going to be on Times Square. He's going to be on national television when the Panthers are not playing in national television. He is going to be at Champ stores. He's going to be at Foot Locker. He's going to be at Nike Town. He's going to be at Jordan stores. The Panthers they're back. They are back in the forefront. And you got Rihanna rocking Panthers gear, albeit vintage, which the 90s are still in. Panthers as 90 as you can get. She's rocking that in Tokyo. You could look at that and fool yourself that she's at a Super Bowl after party and she is a special guest of the Carolina Panthers because they just won the goddamn Lombardi. It was a pretty awkward time to debut my Carolina Hurricanes jersey gifted to me by Mr. Evan Peralta. If you remember the name, he was the guy that won the Bryce Young Process Blue jersey on draft night. I put it out on Twitter that I needed a hookup for the 25th anniversary Hurricanes jersey because it's beautiful. Like look at this shiny. Look at this shiny. Look at the shiny. This is where silver works. All right, doesn't work on the Panthers helmet, but it works there. He hit me up in the DMs. Bingo bango. Here we got it done. I guarantee you. I'm trying to do a Friday Hurricanes, Sunday Panthers game. Cliff and Evan are my first 2 calls. Maybe group chat, because I don't want anyone to get offended, because I can't wait. This 25th anniversary jersey is beautiful. Their performance tonight, in terms of the outcome, not great. They lose game 3 to the Florida Panthers, 1-0 at FLA Live. They're now down 3-0 in the series, and I need them to win game 4 on Wednesday because I have not been able to watch a single game in the comfort of my own home because I'm working the entire time because I work weekends and nights. It hasn't worked. If they win on Wednesday, they play on Friday. That's my day off. Please make it happen. But right now, the Florida Panthers behind Sergei Bobrovsky or in front of Sergei Bobrovsky, their goalie who's been playing absolutely out of his mind, is tough to beat. They're missing Svechnikov. They are missing Max Pacioretty. You don't want to think into next year, but you can only imagine. They got this far without those two. They have Turbo back, but if those guys come back and healthy and everyone else stays healthy like they have been, I think the Hurricanes could be back in the same spot in a much better position next year. But we're not going there. We're not going there. You just got to find a way to beat Big Bob and then try to win Game 4. Bring it back to Raleigh, where it'll be an absolute barn burner of an atmosphere. I no doubt about it, especially if we bring Cam Newton. Get Cam Newton to do the siren, it'd be game over. And I think you can stretch this series out. It was never going to be easy. These two teams are so evenly matched, but the Florida Panthers are playing with absolute gasoline. They're cooking with gas. They're cooking with electricity. They're cooking with it all. And so, quick recap. They're down 3-zip. Can only go up from here. Just don't get swept. Just do not get swept. That's this edition of Panthers Post. Thanks for joining again. During the offseason, it's one episode per week. When shit happens, though, if there is breaking news, you can head out to the YouTube shorts, or if really big news happens, like they finally pick up an edge rusher or maybe another veteran corner, I'll do a full-on video. I appreciate you guys' support. Make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. See you soon.